Greetings and welcome to Updike Welding. It's a happy Saturday. It's August 24th, and I'm down here at the shop working on a project. And people come in the shop all the time, and they ask me questions like, "What kind of welder do I need to buy to do it for a hobby?" And I'm going to answer that question today, and then I'm going to show you a project that I've been working on that's kind of in the realm of being a hobby. So this is the Pro MIG 140 made by Lincoln. I've had this machine and two others. I've always had one of these machines my entire career. It's a simple MIG welder. It will do a lot of small light work, which is what most hobbies are. They're small and they're light, and it's a very good machine. This particular machine runs off of shielding gas, and it runs on wire. It has a ground that you hook to the work or to your table. You take a clamp. As you can see, this one's gotten shorter and shorter. You clamp this off to the table like so. Now, most guys that come in and asking me, what kind of welder should I buy? They don't know how to weld. So they take this and they learn. And I've given away material for them to do that. And light material, which is easier to weld. But this is the gun, and the best way I can describe what it's like using a MIG welder, I would reckon it to using a caulking gun. Almost everyone's used a caulking gun in their life, so you can use this like a caulking gun. What you do is you pull the trigger, it feeds the wire, the electricity goes through the wire, grounds on the material, and creates an arc. As it creates that arc, it's so hot that it melts the material. And what you do is you fill in like you would with a caulking gun, only it's with molten metal. As you can see here, it has a spool. That's a spool of wire. The size of this wire matters. The heat and the wire speed matters. Those are things that people trying to figure out how to work a MIG welder will learn in time. That's why I say using it like a caulking gun, the more caulk that comes out the end of the gun, the more material you're going to have. So it is with the MIG welder. The faster the wire speed, the more wire you're going to have, which is going to create more material. The slower you go, the less material. The hotter you go, the more heat and more material that you need. So what you'll do is you will find that sweet spot. Just the right amount of wire speed, with just the right amount of heat, with just the right thickness of material, creates an atmosphere where you can have success. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, although it is probably the easiest way to weld. So if you want to buy a MIG welder, this is what I would recommend for home use. It plugs into a regular 110 outlet, and you'll have to have a pretty heavy breaker system because it'll kick off your breaker if you don't. And then you'll have to buy a regulator to regulate your gas flow. Do not buy or be talked into gasless wire. If you really don't know how to weld and you buy the gasless wire, you'll get really frustrated. You'll get frustrated and you'll wonder what's going on and why it's not working well, because you really need to be an experienced welder to use gasless wire, or what's called flux core. Flux core is not easy to use even though it's with a MIG gun. Okay? So I use mix, that's argon, CO2, works best for me. It's a little bit more money, but it's what I buy. And a regulator, and then I just regulate the amount of gas that flows through the gun and flows through the machine by adjusting the regulator here. So that's the MIG welder. That's what I would buy if I was wanting to do welding in my garage as a hobby, working on your cars, maybe building a go-kart, whatever project you may have that's fun to do. You want to build your own thing. That's kind of the way I am. You can go out and buy it, right? But we don't want to buy it. We want to build it ourselves because there's something about it that we like. Something about it rings true in our spirit when we build our own stuff. So that's what I'd get, and I'm going to show you my project that I worked on today. Today's Saturday. I came down here to the shop to just to kick around. I'm waiting to go on a hunting trip, and so I'm killing time. And I came down here to the welding shop to build myself a hunting ladder stand, which I'm going to be using here when I hunt in the Ocala National Forest. And I'll show you the process I went through to build that stand. And then we'll do a little bit of welding with the MIG welder, just to show you a little example of how it works. All right. So the first thing I did is I went through a process. I made up a plan. I went out and got some scratch paper. I drew up what I thought I wanted to make. I thought through it, and then I started to cut the material. Now, if you get a project and you don't have any material, you go to your local welding shop and make a list of what you need. Make a list of how long you need it, and let the guy at the welding shop cut it for you. It'll save you a lot of time. Just plan your strategy when you're building something and think ahead. All right, so here's my hunting ladder stand. Okay. First thing I did was I started with a chair. Pretty simple, right? That's my chair. It's going to sit on top of my stand. It's going to sit on top of my ladder stand. This is going to be simple. See, when I leave my ladder stand and I go home, I just fold up the chair and I take it with me, and I leave the rest of the stand in the shop, in the woods. So there you go, one chair. And then I made the top platform, and that's what I'll show you. Let me move this out of the way. I'll show you the process I went through. It might help you on your next project. I had an old piece of plywood. I took the chair, I put it on top of the plywood, and I determined what size platform I needed for my chair. So I marked it out and I cut it. So I cut my platform first. Then I laid it down, put the chair on top of the platform just to see how it would fit. Then I figured my undercarriage frame of the platform, which is this. This material is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches by 1/8 angle iron. As you can see, it follows the contour of the platform. I've got the V here for around the tree. I've got these loops right here for my lock, and I've got these loops right here for my ratchet strap. And I made this to fit, and I attached the plywood to the angle iron using self-tapping screws. They just screw right through, and they make their own threads when they go through. There's no need to pre-drill or anything. You just put a little pressure on it, and it zips right through. So that's the platform. All right, that's how we got started. So now, what we need is our ladder. Our ladder leans up against the tree, and the platform attaches to the top of the ladder. All of this is welded with this Pro MIG 140 MIG weld, just like that. And all this material is the same material, with the exception of the pipes up there. All right, so drop this down here for a second. Just kind of set it right there like that, and I'll show you the ladder. Take the chair down. So this is the ladder structure that I built. It's made out of 1.25 inch square tubing, 14 gauge. 3/4 square tubing, 16 gauge. It welds up real nicely with that machine. I cut all my materials away, laid it all out, marked it, clamped it down, welded it up in no time at all. Let me move the camera here. This portion is the portion that attaches to the platform. I had to flare out these to attach to my brackets on here. And I left this unwelded. Now the way I did that was I took my grinder. If you need a grinder, I use a Milwaukee. The size that I use is a 4-inch mini grinder. It's a 4.5 inch disc. It's got a cutting wheel with a 7/8 inch arbor. This is a great grinder. What I did was I cut and notched my material. Cut and notched the material so I could flare it out because I wanted a little flare. When the stand is done, these will serve as footrests or hand grabs as I'm going up the ladder. I'll be able to grab hold of it and hang on while I pull myself up. When the chair, when I use the chair, I'll put the chair on a lift string. When I get up on the platform, I'll just lift the chair up, stand on the platform, put it down, sit in it. Simple. All right, so I'm going to weld these 2 spots before I forget. So we turn the welder on, turn the gas on, check and see how much wire, how much heat I'm using. I use a shade 10 lens for general purpose welding. And there's a little welding cap. Catch my head. I wanted to make a video that kind of had something to do with hunting and something to do with welding all at the same time. So here we go. Alright, so I'm going to weld this joint. Now this has got a little space in there, there's a little gap. And for those of you that want to learn how to weld or want to have a hobby machine like this one, just remember it's like a caulking gun. See, the wire comes out. That wire will be electrified and will burn and melt when it makes contact to the material. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to weld this joint here, and then we'll weld this one here. Alright, what you just saw was me filling in that gap, and I've got the machine turned up kind of hot. So what happened was I burned through. And so that stop and starting was intentional. I'd stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. As the material puddles and cools, you're able to fill it in just like you would a caulking gun. Okay? We'll do this side now. There you go. That looks good. All right. Later on, I'll probably cap off these tops. I probably won't even bother painting any of this. I'm going to show you how all this looks put together. These are for my cross braces, okay, that come up to the platform and create a brace just to help strengthen everything. Turn it over. Move the camera around so you can see what I'm doing here. And the top bolts to the ladder frame. It's too heavy to carry as one piece, and it's awkward, so I made it where you can take it apart. So now I'll probably put this in a very productive area where I see a lot of deer, and just leave it for the whole season. I got a buddy of mine that likes to hunt, and I introduced him to hunting, but he hasn't killed a deer yet. He likes to turkey hunt, and he killed a turkey. But I'm also putting this up for him. He's going to help me carry it out there, find a place to put it, a good likely spot. And then he can go and sit in it anytime he wants. All he needs is a little lawn chair like I've got. And he can go and sit in it. And when he gets ready to go home, there's no climbing stand. There's no, real big trouble. You just go out and get in your stand. So, okay, here we go. I'm going to put the platform. Attach my platform to my ladder, just like so. It just slides inside there like that. There's one side. made these cross pieces, which help make it good and sturdy. Again, you're going to ratchet strap your tree stand to the tree, as well as put a lock on it. Kick that out a little bit. Hold that through there. And there you go. That's my ladder stand. This attaches to here. You want to tighten everything up nice and tight when you put it in, because you don't want it snapping and popping and creaking. There you go. That's one ladder stand. Got to tighten all that up. Tighten that up. What a lot of people make a mistake, including myself, is I've put too much of an angle on it. Put too much of an angle on it, next thing you know, you're trying to get up the thing, and it's like climbing the side of a mountain rather than a ladder. You want it to resemble a ladder, so don't put too much of an angle on it if you're going to make a hunting stand. There you go. That's my tree stand. I just have that piece of plywood laying around here. Now when you talk about dollars, what do I have in this stand? I've got about $4 in hardware. Like I said, I'm not going to bother painting. I got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Conservatively, I've got probably $60 worth of material. But money's not the point. The point is I made it. I built it. Nothing would give me more pleasure than to kill a deer out of this stand right here. And then of course the chair goes on top so you can sit in comfort. You don't have to sit and be contorted. And of course you always wear a safety harness when you're in a tree stand. You attach your safety harness to the tree. The ladder will be in the ground, down at the foot, and then this will be up against the tree. You can see this is where the tree sits, and it's got a jagged surface right there to dig into the bark right there. And the strap will come around this way. These are the self-tappers, and then I put this piece of angle right here so the legs of the chair go up against it, so that I won't accidentally drop a leg of the chair out the back. That would be bad. Alright, that's my ladder stand. I love making these videos. I hope you enjoy them too. If you need something done, large or small, come down and give us a visit at Updike Welding. Love you guys. See you. Bye.